Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of The Articulate Fly, and we're back with another East Tennessee fishing report with Ellis Ward. Ellis, how are you?
I am doing good, Marv. How are you?
And as always, I'm just trying to stay out of trouble and took a peek at your weather before we started recording, and you got to be a happy camper. I think you've got maybe 7 to 10 days of perfect Ellis fishing weather.
Yeah, we got sort of cooler, bunch of clouds. I'm staring at some clouds right now. It's been for the last 2 or 3 months. I think 3 might be a stretch, but the banks are overgrown. Like there's 2 banks. There's the low water bank and there's the high water bank. It's just been low water, and I mean it's very clear that there's been no release to the point where the grass and saplings and all that stuff are coming out from that low water bank. And you know, it's been I've had a good number of trips with some regulars and guys, both capitalizing on what they've already learned fishing streamers and here to learn for it. And we've moved some big fish. We've caught some big fish. Big fish have made it to the net. Those are 3 different things. And we've seen a general increase in activity, which I'm not sure if that's the fish becoming more acclimated to always low water or me just out there more, which I've done a bunch of anyways, but it's been good, but it's still it's it's hard work. And like I have to laugh at that because most of the time the idea of what I do when I just look at it from me 7 or 8 years ago, not guiding and fishing, it's like basing my profession on catching wild brown trout with streamers. It's an uphill battle, and you can really, that's why I like all the different casting techniques and strips and like all that stuff. You want every advantage pushing your way, muskie included. And it's just a lot of work for both people, for the angler and for me. And so getting the high water and the cloudy skies it just pushes so many different things in our favor. And not that you don't have to work hard, but it can be a little more forgiving. And so, looking at both the release schedule and the weather. So that's sort of a rare combo that I'm looking at both of those, and I feel pretty happy.
Well, there you go. And so 2 questions for you. One, we've still probably moving a little bit of post Hurricane Helene silt through the system. I want to kind of get your thoughts on where we are on that. But also, too, I would imagine you're probably pretty well through the Caddis, but kind of let folks know kind of what the bug deal is right now.
Yeah. So with the Helene sediment, it's still, both rivers when they're releasing. I would say both rivers in low. Yeah, I am going to say that both rivers in low water. Went on the South Holston a couple nights in the last week, and like it's clear, and that low water is low. 10 CFS for those not familiar. And so a lot of the pooly sections are lakey sections, and carp are moving up in the bottom. And when it's that low for so long, South Holston does a little bit of a push for 3 hours a day, 1 hour at a time, but for 3 hours a day total. So you get some cool down effect. But it's been warm, and with all that low water, Watauga hasn't released at all. Things just bake. The banks bake, the rocks bake. So it's the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. The low water, warmer water gets warmer and warmer faster because there's less stuff above those rocks, and you also just have less of that, new cold water coming in from the lake. So, slight digression there. It's, both rivers still have they are not the gin clear. Like I think more and more that it's just a pre and post, probably for a while. Um, Talking with a guy down in Irwin, um, he's fishing smallmouth, and he was just saying that some of these little ridges and islands that he would fish up on Watauga Lake for smallmouth, he basically asked me, is fishing harder? Has it been harder this year? Because it has been for me. And his spots are just not there. And it's because, Watauga Lake is fed by a bunch of different, Watauga River up in North Carolina, a bunch of other little rivers, and it just pushed stuff around. So, I've had days where this spring where it is just, and we're not in like the big, PMD sulphur. We're kind of just coming out of the Caddis. And I've already seen, like, my concern was around plant life and then bug life and what the sediment would have done to both of those things or either of those things. And I've already seen that, we still have these momentary blizzards, of both the Caddis and the PMDs. And so any concerns I had there, which were very much not driven by any amount of science or, biology, anything like that, those have been quelled. And yeah, for the Caddis, that big push of big bugs it lasts for a week or two. And even within that, you get a couple hours a day where they're really going, and that's come and gone. But I mean, you see these poppy eats, like, there aren't risers happening. It's not, you're not looking around seeing risers. You're not looking down on the left hand seam by that log, and there's, two or three trout sipping there and one over in this break over here. When you're seeing these really splashy poppy eats, like you might see a bass eating a damselfly, like that's Caddis pupa eats, and you can hear the difference, you can see the difference most of the time, and you see it on both rivers through the summer. And on the South Holston, you'll see Caddis as small as 22s. They're a little bigger on the tog, but black and tan really from 16s to the mid 20s. So yes, that big Caddis hatch is here and gone. The size 10, 12 black Caddis, but skating bugs, skating little surface flies, some CDC emergers, something like that, imitating a moving Caddis pubis. That it really plays all summer, and most of the year. And we have PMDs and sulfurs and plenty of blue wings right around the corner.
Well, there you go. And got a question for you from Isaac, and he wanted to get your thoughts on the South Holston during low flows. Are you able to float the entire river if you're in a raft?
Short answer is no. And you can do certain sections. I'm not sure if that question is specific to, certainly don't try it at night. And the one, let's say you're going out at noon, right? They do these hour pushes, and what that does is it basically keeps things from fully dropping out. Now, when things fully drop out, which takes a couple hours, the way the South Holston is a river, is a pond fills up below the dam, and then it spills over a weir, and then it becomes a river. So unlike the Watauga, that water comes out from Wilbur Dam, and it is the Watauga River, the South Holston fills up a reservoir first, and then it spills. And so you can go up and like watch it fill. If it says that it's releasing at 8 a.m., you can't put a boat in below the grates until 8:45 ish. And that's because it takes 45 minutes for that pond to fill up and really get going to the point where it's now pushing that whatever 2200 CFS. When they're only doing it for an hour, that that dynamic exists for 10 or 15 minutes. And then when it shuts off, it's not this, full drop. It's that same period of time delayed. And so when you're getting these out releases, just like, yes, that can help the super, super skinny parts, which most of that river, especially the upper river, if it's been low all day, like, yeah, you can't be. Look, I'm saying this out of safety, really. Like, if you have a raft and you have two guys that feel like putting some work in, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but a lot of the places where I would say you can't float through, but you might be able to carry a raft over, you have some good drops on either side of boulders and some of these plunge pools that, when the water's 55 degrees, you really shouldn't be screwing around doing that. Um, so not impossible, but definitely far from advised. And I want to be clear, that's coming from someone who has way more than one dent in their boat and who has never taken, you can't do that at face value. I have figured all of these things out. So, yeah, it is possible. It's a complete nightmare in a lot of different places.
Yeah, and I would also say it's coming from a guy, because I've been with you, where we've delivered life jackets to people who made some poor life choices.
Yeah, I mean, some people. Well, I can quote a regular client of mine. Some people shouldn't be allowed out in public. And within that segment, I would say that, yeah, some people shouldn't be rowing boats.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, folks, we love questions on the articulate fly. You can email me or DM me on social media, whatever is easiest for you. If we use your question, I will send you some articulate fly swag, and it very well may include a new Butcher Shop podcast sticker. And when you're drawing for some cool stuff from Ellis at the end of the season, and Ellis, before I let you go, you want to let folks know kind of what you got open, how to talk fishing, get on the guidebooks. And since I left you off the hook last time on bucktails, I'm going to ask you about bucktails this time.
Yes, sir. Best way to contact me is my cell phone at 513-543-0019. And that's, tying question. I've had people just send me pictures of drunken disorderlies or swim bugs, asking questions about this, that, the other. Like, I've said this a bunch before, but I'll continue saying it. Tying is how I ended up really falling in love with fishing, and ultimately what brought me into guiding. And I love all three of those things for different reasons, but tying is a big one. So certainly don't hesitate to reach out on that stuff. And of course, book your trips, text or call about that. Decent amount of availability coming up, typical weekends go first. And but yeah, get on the books for, gosh, if anyone's listening to this in the area for the next week or two, it's going to be time to go. And then definitely after Memorial Day, Monday through Saturday. Website is elliswardflies.com. You can find your bucktail there. I have a few colors up, and gosh, just this olive that has me about to fall over every time I even think about it, let alone see it. I'll have a couple more of the grade, a handful more grade ones, but 2s and 3s, which are just, tails you can't find in the shop. Some of those are up now. I'll have more up in the next week or two. And Instagram at Ellis Ward Guides.
Well, there you go. Well, folks, as I always say, you owe it to yourself to get out there and catch a few. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Ellis.
Appreciate it, Marv.